Jeffrey's finally gonna speak to a girl. I really hope it goes well for him. Wait, no, Jeffrey, don't touch her right away. No, Jeffrey! Why are you so bad at getting girls? Do you not know that there's just 3 things that you can do to flirt without being cringe? Adonis. Adonis takes young Jeffrey into the 3 steps to flirt without being cringe, and he turns Jeffrey into a player. What? I can't believe it. In such a short amount of time, Jeffrey went from being an incel who no girls were into him to now he's the one in control. How did Adonis do that? Step 1. Be attractive. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat things for you and say, be nice and smile, because those things, okay, fine, those things have their place. But the first and foremost, be physically attractive. You and I both know how attractive you are will correlate to how much girls will like you. There's other things you have to bring to the table, like personality and humor and whatever, sure. But if you are attractive, you will do way better with girls automatically. Even if you say the same words with the same body language, you will instantly just do better. There's such a thing called the halo effect. So the halo effect is like this psychologically observed effect where attractive people are literally treated better than unattractive people. I studied psychology in high school and in university, and I remember it was like a study that I learned where they got 2 models, a fat woman and like a skinny pretty woman. And the model was like struggling bringing up a suitcase up a flight of stairs. And the researchers like counted how many people stopped to like help them. And it was drastically more for the skinnier girl, way more. And that's just one instance in which, if you're attractive, people are just going to be nicer to you and they're going to like you more. There was this picture, maybe my editor can find it, which was like the difference between flirting and sexual harassment. Where it's the same, it's like a cartoon picture, and this attractive, like boss-looking cartoon guy is speaking to this woman, and he goes like, "Hey Susan, good morning, how are you? Like, looking good this morning." And she's like blushing, and she's so happy. Then it has a guy that looks similar, but he looks way worse. You know, he's like fat, he's wearing the same clothes, but he's like fat, and he's not attractive. And he goes, "Hey Susan, good morning, you look good today." And the girl's like calling HR, like she's about to like file a complaint against him. He said the same words. He's even wearing the same clothes. He's just less attractive, and so it's more cringe and it's more uncomfortable for the girl that you're hitting on to treat you with the same respect. If, for example, you're out of shape, if you're ungroomed, or if you stink, or if you've got something in your teeth, or all these things that can give someone like this sort of repellent, all these things that can like push someone away from you. So, as part of your self-improvement journey, as part of your journey on like becoming a better man, a more attractive man, why not get into some looks maxing as well? Looks maxing is basically where you improve your physical appearance. And there's a few different ways you do that, a few kind of key points you do that with. Number 1 is your body. So you aim to build an aesthetic body, not massive steroid bodybuilder level. And you also don't want to be fat or really skinny. You want to build up a decent amount of muscle and stay relatively lean. And that's like the aesthetic body that I often speak about. And that does huge wonders for your dating life, especially for like online stuff. It's, you know, if a girl's like sending you nudes or something and you're out of shape, you know what I mean? But if you've got a 6-pack, if you've got like a model level like physique, girls go crazy for it, especially online, dating apps, Tinder, Instagram, Snapchat. That's where a lot of dating is these days, and a lot of it can just be your physique. When you've got like a nice 6-pack, you've got like a chest, you've got the back muscles that girls really like, it puts her on easy mode. And so build an aesthetic body, go to the gym, eat high protein, lift weights, get stronger in the gym, and you'll build this muscle. It takes a while, I'll be honest with you. To build the aesthetic body, you're probably going to be lifting for like 2 to 5 years, depending on like your genetics and how hard you're training. I remember when I started, when I was like 17 years old, I was like dying to make progress, like muscle, as fast as possible. It's 10 years, 11 years in. I'm pretty bulky right now. Like I've just done the final bulk I'll probably ever do for my entire life. But I've achieved the amount of muscle mass I've always wanted now. It took about 11 years of going to the gym, eating high protein, thinking about sleep and diet and macros and resistance training, strength training, this exercise and this one. But it's been a beautiful journey, and it well and truly changed how I look and how I feel as well. So it's one of the best journeys you can go on in terms of all of life, to be honest, but specifically in terms of improving your attractiveness. I actually I made like this program where I made all the workout routines you need in your life to build that type of physique. If you want to build a physique with like the exact workout routines that I have went on myself, it'll be like linked in the top link. The top link is like my sort of educational program. And inside of there's a course on building the aesthetic body. But there's other things you can do as well. You can improve your facial attractiveness. You can get rid of acne with skincare or Accutane. You can improve the shape of your hair, the style and stuff. Like when I was in high school, I just used to like not really even go to the barber, or if I would go to the barber when I was like 12 years old, my dad would take me and he'd tell the barber like, yeah, just cut it short, just cut it short. Like we didn't even know like what the style was. And then since that point, when I kind of started to research this stuff online, I've had relatively like the same hairstyle for like fucking 10 years straight, because I feel like it just suits me, where it's like undercut fade, short on the sides and the back, and a little bit longer on the top. You want to make sure you've got like a bit of a fashionable, decent hairstyle. Doesn't have to be the same as mine. Doesn't have to be like the TikTok boy, long, little gay looking one, although it can be. Just make sure it's kind of like well groomed and it kind of suits you and you feel confident in it. And then the other thing you can do with attractiveness, level up your style, your fashion, your sprays, your fragrance. That surprisingly has a huge boost. I'll be honest to you, for years I overlooked the cologne department. I was like, oh, who cares? I put deodorant on, I don't stink of sweat. And I also don't want to spray like this stuff that's probably like unnatural. And recently I was like, oh, fuck it, I might go get like a cologne for the first time in years. Put one on, and I swear to God, the girls that I've been consistently seeing, they were like, whoa, like, oh my God, they're like literally climbing on top of me saying like, you smell so good, oh my God, and everything. Makes a bigger difference than I ever knew, to be honest. So getting like a good cologne. I have this red and gold one, which is called like Royal One or something like that. So maybe you can try and find that. And I also have like this blue Versace Eros brand one as well. So that's step one, is just be attractive, because look, the more attractive you are, you can get away with saying the same things, but which just don't feel cringe anymore. It's like a meta advantage, like it's 24/7. No matter what you do, you're less likely to be seen as cringe or corny the more attractive you are. So you may as well just like level your sort of looks maxing journey up alongside the rest of your life and the other things that we'll discuss today. So the second step you can do to flirt without being cringe. Now we're getting more tactical, right? So the being attractive was like a high level thing. Now let's talk about, okay, you have a girl in front of you. What is a way you can flirt with her without being cringe? I think flirting with words is usually where the cringe comes in. Like if you try to say something a bit sexual to a girl, she might not take it well. There's almost like a 50-50 chance she might not take it well. If you've already been sleeping with this girl, then it's different. Okay, sure. Then, you can tell her like, oh, I'm going to fuck you, whatever. Okay, sure. But especially if it's a girl you've not slept with, you talking anything kind of sexual is very high risk. And it's not really that high reward as well. It's just like really risky. And that's where the cringe can come in. If you ever message a girl anything kind of sexual, flirty, that's where the risk is, where she might fucking screenshot it and put it on her group chat or whatever. So I actually think to flirt without being cringe, it's all about what we do with our bodies. And you probably could guess what the second tip in this video is going to be. It's going to be eye contact, but I'm going to give you something better than eye contact. Everyone will tell you, okay, eye contact, yeah, hold their eyes, okay, boom, you know this already. I'm going to give you a specific tip. I swear to God, I don't think I've ever taught anyone before. It's something that I learned about 10 years ago. I recently just remembered it, and I've been doing it this entire time, but it's how I hold eye contact with girls. And I just remembered that I do this, and I've never taught anyone, but I swear to God, when I teach you this, you'll be like, okay, this was a weird eye contact tactic that Hamza gave me. And it's what we're gonna call sticky eyes. So normal eye contact, we see each other, we hold eye contact, maybe we smile, whatever, okay, done. Sticky eyes is slightly different. It's when we're gonna hold eye contact with a girl, and then there's gonna be a reason to look away. We're gonna like talk about something else, we're gonna think about something, or imagine we're in like a group setting, like with some friends, or her friend comes up, whatever, or your friend is here and your friend says something, and we're gonna take our eyes away from her. Basically, the tactic is you hold eye contact with her, and when you're going to look away, which naturally you might do like 20 times in a conversation, when you're thinking about something or when someone else has said something, you look away with your head first, but you keep your eyes sticky to her as if it's connected with like some honey. There's like a slow tie. So imagine if you're the girl and I'm holding eye contact with you and I'm speaking about stuff, and let's say one of our friends walks up and says something, I would turn my head. Wait, sorry, I did it wrong. I would turn my head whilst keeping my eye on her, and then I would move over. It's the subtlest difference. It's so subtle, Basically, what I'm saying is, keep your eyes stuck on her a bit more. We're not going like full fucking Indian mode, just Indian man mode. In married Indian man mode, staring at the girl. We're not doing full married Indian man mode. What we're doing is, okay, like we're speaking to the girl, we're flirting, we're talking. There's a reason to look away. Maybe I'm about to think something. I move my head first, but I keep my eyes lined up to her as if there's like sticky honey connecting our eyes. And then I move over to the person. Let me see if I can demonstrate it one more time. So if you're the girl, oh yeah, you know, like, yeah, I'm a YouTuber and stuff. Like this. Maybe I'm not demonstrating it as well as like, you know, if I was in a conversation. Maybe we should like get a clip of me doing this with a girl, but like, just try it once in your mind. You can probably imagine it would actually be kind of sexy. Like the girl's holding eye contact with you. Someone comes up to speak to you, or, you know, something's happening over there, and you keep your eye on her a little bit longer than you need to. And I found that like, that's the kind of eye contact that has attracted girls way more for me. I remember my ex-girlfriend, I met her like 2-3 years ago. And it was our eye contact that actually attracted each other, you know, to each other. We were in my villa in Thailand. I had invited her over for like this sort of nighttime little party thing. And we were drinking water out of like a plastic bottle. So I was in the pool. She was like sat next to the pool with a couple of our friends. And when I said to her, like, pass me the water, I noticed both, like when she gave me the water, we weren't looking at the water. We were looking at each other's eyes. Like when someone passes you something, right? If I'm about to pass you this, your eyes would look at this and you'll take it from me. Imagine how much more like the sticky eyes can be, where if I say, okay, pass me this, I'm about to pass you this, but you keep your eyes on me and I keep my eyes on you and we give it to each other. That is, it's such a subtle difference. It's so easy to kind of like skip this and to say, oh yeah, that's not gonna, you know, do anything, whatever. But really this is flirting. Flirting is very often, it's like a non-verbal communication. It's like, it's the things we don't say. It's the tension that's being built up. That's what flirting is. Saying like dirty talking is different, and that can be sexy. But that's often for the girl you're already fucking, and we can discuss that on a different day. But we're talking specifically like how to flirt with a girl that you haven't fucked yet. I'm telling you, it's the subtle little bits of eye contact that will take it to the next level. So have as your meta advice that I'm giving you right now, the tactic that you're gonna remember. Any moment possible, try and just stick to her eyes with your eyes a little bit longer, especially if you're about to turn away. Keep your eyes on her instead of like turning away like a little fucking like prey, you know, like a fucking prey, like there's a predator, like a scared little boy. Turn away slowly with your eyes, still looking at her for like an extra second, right? So imagine if someone says Hamza like this, that's like prey behavior. If someone says Hamza like this. I don't know if it's sexy if you're watching this now thinking like, that doesn't even fucking look good. You look like a fucking Indian. Okay, fine. But I'm telling you, that's one of my tactics that I feel like has worked fucking so well for me. I've literally had girls tell me like, oh, you know, like our eye contact when we met was so attractive. It was so like, oh, this. And it's one of those things that you have to kind of try to remember at any moment when you're speaking to a girl. Try and hold the eye contact a little bit more, but also don't do it in a way where you're just like autistically staring at her. Just see how there's like too much eye contact and too little eye contact. So too much eye contact, we don't want you to be like a married Indian man. Too little eye contact, we don't want you to be like a feeble European boy who's being psyoped by like, you know, like the Israeli immigration and everything. Oh, scared little boy. Okay, we don't want either of these. We want like a nice healthy middle where you make a good amount of eye contact, but you're not being like rapey at the same time. And the third thing that I'll say in terms of flirting without being cringe is play fighting and also just manhandling her. If you've just met a girl, right, you have to really catch the vibe. You've got to be careful to not like, you know, like do anything that makes her feel uncomfortable. But as you've kind of spoke to each other a little bit more, that's when I think such an easy way to flirt with each other is to do some kind of play fight. Some like, you know, a little bit of like physical kind of push her away from you. Let's say she like laughs and you know, she says something or she's roasting you a little bit. Push her away a little bit like that. It normalizes the touch between you guys. What you don't want is you're speaking to a girl for ages and you've not touched her at all. That's what most guys do, and then they find it so hard to actually escalate and kiss. Because if you haven't touched her, if you haven't broke the touch barrier, it feels like such a big step to randomly then go in for the kiss, or just take your clothes off. And how do you get to sex from here? What you've got to do is escalate through the touch barrier slowly, from maybe the handshake. Then you touch her arm when you make a point. Maybe she laughs and she says something, and you kind of push her a little bit slightly, and you laugh about something. You check the ring on her finger, and you look at it and say, okay, tell me the story. You steal it from her, put it on your finger, and say, oh wow, thank you for the gift. That always gets them, because then they're like grabbing you. Oh my god, give me my ring back, whatever. You do this and it normalizes the touching. And then what I would say is some basic touching. Okay, boom, 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 nice. But to level up from basic touching to a bit more of play fighting and manhandling is where I found where that's when it turns into like animal mode. That's when I fuck the girl. Normal touching is good, hold her hand, touch her when she's talking, whatever. But find the moments where you can kind of play fight with her, slightly push her a little bit, see if she's gonna do it back to you. If she's not that kind of girl, she'll look a bit weird, okay, fine. But you'll find some girls who are actually like into play fighting, and they'll do it back to you. They'll push you back. They'll if you're at the beach or whatever, you can grab the towel and start whipping it and chasing her with it and stuff. Then you can hug each other, throw her to the ground, and you're there in this intimate position here. That makes it so easy for you to escalate after that, and it normalizes you basically just grabbing her. So you've got to play, don't just do this with a girl you've just met, and what I would do is I'd do it slowly, and I'd see the sort of response. Sometimes when a girl makes a bit of a joke, and if I give her a gentle push as I'm laughing, she will kind of push me back. Or, she'll roast me, for example, or I'll roast her, and I'll give her a push at the same time. And then if she does it back to me and she kind of squares up to me, but in a funny face, that's when it's easy for me to pretend that I'm going to choke her out or whatever, or hold her hands, start pretending to punch her stomach or something. And that just normalizes you being able to touch her. Then the other point of this is manhandling. Basically just grabbing her and moving her towards you. So again, you've got to be calibrated with this. But for example, if I'm on a date next to a girl, and if I want to kiss her, if I want her, let's say she's sat a little bit away from me, I'll say something like, come here, whilst I sort of grab her arm and kind of pull her towards me a bit. When I say that, there's sometimes when a girl will feel me, I'm about to do this, and she'll say, no, I'm okay. And I'll stop right there, so I'm not making her feel uncomfortable, and it's okay. But a lot of the times I'll say, come here, the girl will instantly shuffle up, rest her head on me and everything. And it's almost like a surprise, because she was sat with so much distance before this that I felt, oh, maybe she doesn't like me. And when I just fucking risk it and say, okay, come here, grab her and move her towards me, she just fucking comes into it, and she's smiling right away. Let me see where this... Are they still going? We've got some company coming over in 2 minutes, so let's see if we can finish the video before she comes over. She sent me a video of the traffic. Yeah, there's traffic on the way to mine, so my friend is delayed. So I personally think manhandling, I know that sounds like a weird word, but that's the word we're going to use. Manhandling is probably the number one tip I would give you in terms of flirting, especially when you want to escalate to pounding this girl, right? This is where most guys fail. What I've noticed when I speak to a lot of my guys who are in my program, it's a self-improvement social media. We talk about all things, but dating especially. It's the top link in the description. One of the things that I find that most guys are struggling with is how to actually physically escalate. You should cold approach. You're leveling that up. You're speaking to more girls. You're you're not maybe doing amazing, but you're speaking to more girls, and you might have even started to go on some dates here and there. But you don't know how to be on the date and start making out with her. And I swear to God, this is where when I learned this stuff when I was 19, 20, there's some specific tactics that makes it, tactics makes it sound so incel-y, cringe and whatever, but it's a good word for this. There's some ways that you can sort of escalate. Let's say if you're sat next to a girl and you want to be able to kiss her, that's where a lot of this physical action comes in. So I would first, let me put you in the scenario. The girl sat next to you, you want to kiss her, you're somewhere kind of private, on a date, or you're in a park or whatever, but you're on a date together, for example. You've already like kind of hugged her when you see her, you've grabbed her hand a little bit, do some of the basic touching just to kind of normalize, touch her hand a little bit, grab her hand sometimes, grab the ring a little bit, touch her arm when she laughs. Then I'll start to like, even just grab her hand slightly and I'll hold it as I tell a story, for example. Or I'll start to like, just do some things like that. I'll pass her something or I'll just touch her hand like this, like, oh, I'm making a joke, whatever, and I'll just touch her hand a little bit like that for a few seconds, boom, like this. Then the thing that I'll always do is I always say to them, come here. Grab one of the arms like this, put your arm around her back and sort of like pull her towards you. You're not gonna like do it aggressively. She's basically gonna shuffle to you. But when you do that, you're kind of like insinuating, okay, come sit next to me. What you'll find is a certain percentage of the time, the girl will say like, nope, I'm fine here. And basically that girl is like 90% chance that girl's not gonna want to fuck you. What I will say though is there's been girls who've said that on a date and I still pounded the fuck out of them like an hour later after that. So don't feel like all is lost. But that's the first sort of big move that I'll make in terms of like flirting, in terms of escalating, is I'll say, come here and position her next to me like this. This is also why it's quite nice to not like sit across from her in the table because you can't really get like as close. That being said, I've been on dates where we sat across the table and I've literally like stood up across the table, made out with her, like we're both across the table, taking her home after that. So it's everything is possible. But ideally you're sitting next to each other, you say, come here, she sat next to you. Then to escalate from this moment to when you want to kiss her, again, this is where very specific like moves really work well. Really, a lot of the internet kind of hates the guy who's learned some of these moves. But honestly, I'll just be honest, they really worked for me. So I want to pass that on to you right now for free. And if you find that this stuff is like, fucking hell, this really works, top link in the description, you may as well just join the full fucking program if this works for you, right? So let's say she sat next to you, you're both kind of awkwardly looking forward, looking there, whatever. How do you go to kiss her? What I would always say is say the same words again. Come here. Would you get the dog, please, bro? Apologies, bro. We have an intruder. Hello.
He's all hooked up so he can't move. You can just go say
hello. How are we?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Oh, you look lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I just got stuck.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
You can go sit down over there. Nice one. We're just finishing this up now. Okay. Where were we? Before we were rudely interrupted. Before we were rudely interrupted. So, okay, you want to go in for the kiss. This is the way that I mentioned this once to one of my students and he said, wow, like I didn't even realize that you could kind of do this. I'm a pretty confident guy, but when Hamza explained it, it worked really well. When I went on this date with this girl and she was lovely and it was so nice, it worked. Which is what I would recommend, and what girls have told me is, don't ask the question like, can I give you a kiss? Can I kiss you, please? What would you do if I kissed you right now? Especially if you're a fucking grown man. Like if you're like 12 years old and you ask your little crush, what would you do if I kissed you right now? Can I give you a kiss? Fine. But I'm telling you right now, if you're a grown fucking man and you're asking the girl, like, can I kiss you right now? She's going to get the ick. I'm telling you, like a lot of my female friends have told me, like that's so like demasculating if a guy asks for permission. But you've also got to play in regards to her comfort and to not make her feel weird. So the way that I would always do it, I would say to her, come here, whilst like looking at her lips. That way it's like she gets to choose if she wants to lean in towards you. You don't look like a fool kind of like leaning over across the table, like high risk move right there. So I would just kind of say to her like, okay, come here, look at her lips and just kind of like maybe put your finger sort of on her face or something that she knows, okay, you're going in for a kiss right now. That I find has been, that's the most effective way for you to make your intention known, but to give her an out so that you're not randomly putting her on the spot and like diving in for a kiss and she's gonna be like, wait, what the fuck are you doing, whatever. Because that can happen sometimes, right? Sometimes you might think that you're like on a date with a girl and it's going well, whatever, and she's thinking that it's not. So if you just randomly dive in for a kiss, it'll be this awkward kind of cringe moment where she's gonna like hard reject you and also she's gonna feel uncomfortable and then the whole situation is just awkward as fuck. When you say to her, like let's say, okay, you hold eye contact with her, look at her lips for a second, look back at her eyes and say, come here. And maybe put your finger, maybe just like this a little bit, put your finger. When she starts leaning in, then it's, okay, it's go mode. There. You didn't ask it in this little cringe boy mode, like, can I kiss you please? You didn't say anything like that. You just let your intentions be known. You kind of subtly showed her what you were going to do by looking at her eyes. And by just touching her chin, you kind of insinuate, okay, like you sort of come towards me a little bit like that. That's like what I have read about as like the perfect way to escalate. If you're on a date and you want to flirt and escalate and go in for the kiss, but you're scared of being seen as cringe, you're scared of like making the girl feel uncomfortable, you're scared of people looking at you getting rejected. I get it, because look, I was like 17, 18, like 10 years ago. And I used to be really nervous when it came to speaking to girls, like so nervous. Like the first time I spoke to a girl who I didn't know in public, I swear to God, me and my friend, we specifically went to like the mall, like the shopping center in our town, specifically to try and talk to girls. And we walked around to the point that my feet were sore. Like we walked around for like 3 hours, didn't speak to a single girl. And we were just saying, okay, let's just go home. This is stupid. Yeah, all the girls here are ugly anyway. Like we started coping so hard, like blaming it on them, even though it was us. And I didn't want to feel like a failure. So I saw a girl who was working inside of a store. So I just said, okay, watch this. I walked up. I already started getting so nervous and my heart was beating fast. I was so shy. And I went up to her and I said, you're really beautiful. I'm so sorry. And then I walked off. Didn't even wait for her response. I don't even know what she thought. I literally just walked off. That's the first time that I spoke to like a girl like outside of, my school. I must have been like 13 or something at the time. And I'm glad that I went through that. Because when you go through moments like that, that's building up your courage as a young man. And that becomes so attractive 5, 10 years down the line when you can go up and speak to people. It also transfers to so many areas of life. Like if you want a job or if you want a promotion or if you want to speak to that guy who's in the gym, who's jacked, who's moving weight, the skill of you being able to speak to girls and being able to flirt with girls without being cringe transfers over to so many areas of life. Like a lot of guys will sometimes they comment and they say like, oh, Hamza, don't make videos about girls because they're a waste of time. And to that, I always say like, I think you're really missing out and I think you're missing the point. This isn't just about you like trying to speak to a specific girl. This is about you becoming a brave man who can go after what he wants. And it's not just about women, but it's also about the life that you want, the guy you want to be friends with, the job you want, the business you want to start, the conversation you need to have with your parents. All of that, you're facing rejection. So why not be the young guy who's been experiencing rejection in one area at minimum, which is, okay, speaking to some girls, just risking it and just seeing what happens if you go speak to the girl that you're attracted to, or if you just go in for the kiss, if you just try to flirt with the girl, you let your intentions be known. That is so much better. Like, it's so much better to be rejected by a girl than it is to never be rejected by her, but to keep speaking to her, basically never letting your intention known, pretending to be her friend for like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, pretending to be friends with her, never having the balls to just tell her that you like her. The guys who have been in that situation will tell you there's basically nothing worse than that. There's nothing worse than putting yourself in the friend zone because you just didn't have the bravery just to tell this girl that you liked her because you were just so scared. I would rather you get used to some rejection here or there. I would rather that you become more of like a brave young man when you're on this path, like climbing up in life. Because that is what opens up the rest of the world. It's not just about women, it's not just about the kiss, it's not just about flirting. What you're doing is being able to like go after what you want. If that sounds like the kind of life that you want, then top link in the description, come buy my course. I'll help you with girls, with dating, with building the physique, everything that a young man wants. Basically, I made like a social media for guys who are like serious in life, ambition, and who are super serious in like fitness and everything. And if you felt like since you've gotten really serious in life and ambitious that you're not really relating to anyone that you know anymore, then I basically made like a new social media for you to find guys who are the same as you, who are the same as me, who are ambitious, who want to make money online, who want to travel the world, who meditate, who read books, who eat clean. They're like becoming athletes and businessmen. Top link in the description, you can come join. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.